Hi all, Melv Mills here from Oak Free School and Wilderness Skills, and today we're going to be taking a look at the traditional flint and steel and looking at a couple of ember extenders that we can use in conjunction with it. We use three types of steeling screws. This one, which is a copy of a Viking fire steel, or a type of Viking steel, this is made by a local artisan smithy, and this one's made from the plough disc that we found in the bottom of the wood. This one is a piece of old metalwork file. You buy these from the car boot. They are, £1, £2, and just put them in a vice, and you can break them into 4 or 5 pieces. And this one is more of a traditional Viking fire steel, small enough for tiny hands, for smaller hands, put fingers through. I mean, obviously a lot bigger for adult hands, but these are great for my hands. I can use these really well. Kids find these really good and really easy to use. I think out of all the three, the ones that kids do find the easiest to use, probably this one, because it's got a wide surface, so when they're actually striking down against the flint, the fingers are well out of the way, and it's quite heavy, so it aids in creating that friction to throw that spark. This one, in comparison, the width is a lot smaller, so their fingers are a lot closer when striking to the flint. And, you get some nasty cuts with flint, really sharp stuff. This one affords a little bit more protection when the fingers are through it, but what kids tend to do is, we teach them to put it up to the first knuckle and then strike, but what they tend to do after a few strikes is the fingers, thumb, tend to creep around, and then the strike and hit the flint, or the fingers go all the way through, the knuckles are sticking out, and they tend to hit the flint with the knuckles. So out of all these three, the ones that I find that kids find the easiest to strike with is this one. It's a couple of £1 from car boot, you get 5 pieces. This one, I think these cost about 10 a piece. Paid £10 each for these from this guy, which I don't mind, because he's a local smithy, and he does a really good job. And then this one, which is more of a commercially available one, really good steel, really good carbon steel, and it throws probably the best sparks. But again, these are about £15 each. The thing with all of them is, particularly when it's cold, if you've got your young people on a playground or wherever, they drop these ones tend to break in half. These ones tend to stay fine, for a couple of quid you're not too worried, and these tend to snap. Best way we have found to get young people to use this particular fire steel is to get them to put their fingers through the hoop up to the first knuckle bend, and then, keeping the fingers away, strike against the flint. Because their hands are a little bit smaller than mine, they tend to push them right through, and you've got skin on this side and knuckles on that side, and if they're not careful, they tend to go along the knuckles, catch the skin. So we try to get them to ensure that they go up to the first knuckle, a little bit of gap between them and the flint, and then strike. Now, we use two types usually of ember extender when we're working with a flint and steel, and all an ember extender is something to catch your spark to smoulder in that substrate or that material, to give you enough time to put into a fire bundle and then blow that into a fire. Now, what we use is something called amadou, which we process and make ourselves from orsoof fungus, or char cloth, which is just burnt cloth basically. And we found that when kids are first, or young people or anybody, are first starting to make fire, the char cloth is by far the easiest to use a flint and steel into char cloth. in my experience and in my opinion, it's easier to use than a ferro rod with young people. The Amadou is slightly different, and depending on how you process it, how you make it, but we have great success with both. So basically Amadou is this really soft, fluffy material that once processed catches a spark really well. It's a bit like suede or a broken soft leather. And then charcloth is just that. Put it in a tin, put it over fire, little hole in the top, let it smoulder away, and you get this stuff that catches a spark absolutely brilliantly. You know, one strike sparks, great. So they're the sort of ember extenders we use, and as I say, great success with them all.